we should be careful not to allow these modes to dominate our faith. Everyone accepts a different kind of authority in this world, isn't it? Vayur gandhan ivashayat. Just as the air is carrying different aromas wafting through the air, so there are so many different worldviews, so many different options, so many different ideologies wafting through the air, begging for our attention. Great marketplace of ideas. Or as J.C. Royce said, the world is an ever-changing community of interpretation. Who's to make any sense out of this? And on what basis? If you're impelled by passion, you will do things you will twist and twangle everything you hear to suit your purposes. If you are in the mode of ignorance, you don't even care to think, period. You just want to eat and sleep, like an animal. If you're in the mode of goodness, then these things have some relevance. So now that we have the human form of life, we have to cultivate things that are in the mode of goodness so that at least we can begin to discriminate. And with that discrimination, we can understand how am I being conditioned by the modes of nature, how can I reduce those influences so as to act in the most progressive way possible while I still have time. Because the time is not going to be there forever. Generally, a person's most productive years in life are, say, from 20 to 40 or 50. That's not a long time, because I don't know, anybody else can disagree with me, but my experience is that time seems to speed up as you get older. When you're a little baby, you know, a year is like an eon. It's like a kalpa. And then, you know, when you're young, 10 years is like, you know, it's no problem. It's a lot of time. But it seems like now 10 years just flies by like a month. So we don't have a lot of time, but all of us are going to leave at some point. I like to quote that verse. Dinayamin pratah sayam shishira vasantau punar ayatam kalaha kridati gachati ayu tarapi namunchati asha vayu. Shankaracharya says, the day and night are passing. Again comes dawn, again comes dusk. Winter and summer change places. Right? Everything comes and goes again and again. Time, in this way, time plays and life departs. But the person never gives up his bundle of hopes and his aspirations for what to do with his life. This is the great trick of the human form of life. It's an unprecedented opportunity, we can say. Well, maybe it's precedented. But it's certainly a valuable opportunity, because only in the human life can you make choices that are going to affect you for many lifetimes in the future. And it's only, the human form of life is only attained after already spending many lifetimes. It's a lifetime of responsibility. It's the only lifetime of responsibility. It's very short and it's very rare. Prahlad Maharaj says, Tadapi adhruvam arthadam. Although it is very quick, and as I said, it seems to speed up the older you get, still, arthadam, it is very valuable. It can give you something very purposeful. So all the sages, all of the shastras, all the devotees, acharyas, they recommend using this human form of life for what it's really meant for advancement on the spiritual path. Otherwise, eating and sleeping and mating and defending, these are the other options, and these are the things that engage us wholly when we are animals, when we are demigods, when we are demons, when we are germs. All the other, there are 8,400,000 species of life. And in every single one of them, we have a slightly different flavor, slightly different brand or nuance of these four activities: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Only when we become human beings can we think about where we are going. I went to the dentist the other day. He was from Iran. Nice man, Muslim man, but nice, open-minded. So he said that one of his spiritual mentors had been in just that very morning and talked to him and said, You know, you're doing very nice business, you're a very nice gentleman, but you should stop running and start walking, because you cannot think when you're running. You can think when you're walking. You cannot think when you're running. We're very unfortunate because we live in a society in which you're pushed to run. From some people work, I mean, 40-hour work week is practically a thing of the past. It used to be in India, I remember, people wouldn't open up until 10 a.m. Then they take a few hours off at lunch, and then they're up until 11 or so, 10, 11 at night. Now you have 24-hour shifts, especially if you live in Bangalore. Los Angeles, I call it. When I went there last year, it was like I thought I was in Hollywood. Really, it's, things change. So anyway, the human form of life is meant for taking this responsibility seriously, because it's not an opportunity that comes automatically. It's not granted. We take things for granted, don't we? So as they say, use it or lose it. You will lose it. If we don't use this human form of life for the purpose it's actually meant for, we will not be given another chance. We'll be given a chance to do the things that we did in the human form of life. That's called sangat sanjayate kama. You associate with the wrong modes, you develop the wrong desires, and karanam guna sangosya sat asat yoni janmasu. You will get birth in either a sat yoni or an asat yoni. What does that mean? A higher birth or a lower birth. We were discussing this point actually earlier today. One gentleman was asking about it. How does the process of transmigration or reincarnation actually transpire? How is it? What is the vehicle through which one's personality is shaped? He said, the psychologists say, is it nature or is it nurture? You know? Here, judging from what Srila Prabhupada describes in his purport, it would seem as if there's not really a great difference between nurture and nature, because your nature is formulated by the modes of the material nature and the various kinds of association that are nurturing it. If you associate with passionate people, you will become a passionate person. Your nature will morph into something other than what it is at present, assuming that you're not passionate already. So similarly, he says at the end of the purport here, this nature can be changed. Well, let me just read this sentence because it's very rich. The association of the living entity with the different modes of nature has been going on perpetually. Since the living entity is in contact with material nature, he acquires different types of mentality according to his association with the material modes. This is Prabhupada is paraphrasing chapter 14 here, that verse that I was quoting. And then, but this nature can be changed. What are we talking about here? We're talking about by associating with various modes of nature, your own swabhava, your own personal nature, will become correspondingly changed. So how do we get out of these modes of material nature? Suppose I don't want a sattvic nature or a rajasic nature or a tamasic nature. Suppose I don't want my faith to be colored by passion and ignorance or even goodness. Then what do? Who remembers what the purport says? To change this nature, what can we do? Prabhupada said it's possible to change this nature. How?
With the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master.
If you find a bona fide spiritual master who's going to direct you appropriately, who's going to direct your association appropriately, then you can get out of this process. Otherwise it goes on ad infinitum. The poet Kalidas, Sanskrit poet, he wrote a famous book called Meghabhuta. In that book he gives an analogy like the spokes of a wheel turning. Sometimes a particular spoke is up on the top, sometimes it's going down below. But when a wheel is turning very fast, what difference does it make whether you're up there or down